Finding equations of lines, day 1. So we're going to spend some time with this. So slope-intercept form is the form that we have been using so far. Y equals mx plus b. So my slope, we know, is the m. And the b, where we begin, is our y-intercept, okay, where the graph crosses the y-axis. There's another form of a line that's going to be helpful for us as we start to write equations, and it's called the point-slope form. So it's going to have exactly that in it. It's going to have a point and a slope in it. And it's y minus y sub 1. That's that little lower one, just like we have in our slope formula. So y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So the m stays our slope just like it was back in our slope-intercept form. And then our point is our x1, y1. That's our point. So do you see where the name comes from now? Point, slope. It's called the point-slope form. Or back here, our slope-intercept form has a slope in the y-intercept form. So both of those forms are equations of lines that we're going to work with. So the first question says, find the equation, okay, of a line that has a slope of 1/4, so key piece of information, and y-intercept of 3. So what do we have? We have slope and we have a y-intercept. So looking at our two choices up above, for our lines, would we use the slope-intercept form or would we use the point-slope form? If we have a slope and an intercept, hopefully you can see we would use y equals mx plus b because we have slope and the y-intercept. So now we're just going to substitute into those blanks our slope, x, and then our y-intercept from our problem. So what's our slope? Is 1/4, and what's our y-intercept? A positive 3. So we just wrote the equation. Now let's see what the next one says. Find the equation of a line that has a slope of 2, so let's highlight that key piece of information, and a y-intercept of 2. So again, we have something about the slope, we have something about the y-intercept. We're going to use that form. Slope-intercept form. So y equals blank x blank. Remember, the slope comes first. That's in front of the x. And then the y-intercept is after the x plus 2. You just wrote the equation. So now, what if we're given a graph? So it says, determine the equations of the lines shown in the following graphs. Now on your paper, because your paper is in black and white, you're not going to be able to see the x and the y-axis. So highlight that on your paper. So it says, determine the equations of the lines shown in the following graphs. So we have two graphs here. We have graph A, or line A, and line B. So line A, I'm going to highlight that one so we can see which one we're working with. Line A, we need to see what information we have. So line A has, we can see where it crosses the y-axis. So there's our intercept. And can we find the slope given a line? We absolutely can. So what do we need? We need our two pieces of information. We need our slope and we need our y-intercept. So we have the y-intercept. Now let's see what we can do about our slope. So if we go from our y-intercept to another point on the line, we would go up 1, 2, 3, and right 1. So my slope is rise up 3 and run 1. And where did that line begin? Where did it cross the y-axis? It crossed at 2. Now we can write our equation. Y equals blank x blank. So fill in your blanks. 3 over 1, or you can just write 3, plus the y-intercept is 2. Now I'm going to erase so we can focus in on the other line, line B. So I will highlight B, so it's that line right there, and let's see what information we can get for line B. Can we find our y-intercept, and can we find our slope? So our y-intercept, I see right there where it crosses the y-axis, and what is that value? We're at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so my y-intercept is 5, and then my slope, now be careful because my slope, this line is going downhill, so you should think to yourself that the slope is going to be negative, so let's see what it is. We're going to rise up 1, 2, and run backwards 1, 2, 3. So up 2, but back 3. So we can write our equation, y equals blank x blank. What are our two pieces of information? M, that's our slope, x, then plus our y-intercept, 5. So it's really a fill in the blanks. You need the slope and you need the y-intercept in order to write the equation. We're going to talk about that point slope form in just a second. That other form, that new one, the second one that was up at the top. Now it says find the equation of a line that has a slope of, seems to me that we are missing something, and passes through the point 3, 1 using slope intercept form. Okay, something got cut off, so I'm going to put this in there. Let's put a 2 in there. So a slope of 2 and passes through the point 3, 1. So there's a key piece of information, slope of 2 and a point 3, 1. So what's our information that we have? We have a slope and a point. A slope and a point. Do we have, so go back up to our two forms here. We have a slope and a point. So we have to use our new form. And let's see, does the question tell us we have to use a new form? Oh, the question says we need to use slope intercept form. So they're telling us we've got to use slope intercept form. So we got to do what the question says. So what is our slope intercept form? Y equals mx plus b. But do I have my y-intercept? I don't. But I have a point 3, 1, and I've got the slope. So let's plot that point 3, 1. Remember, we go right first, okay, because it's positive 3 and up 1. And then my slope is 2. My slope is 2. Can I make that a fraction? I can. So now let's do our rise over run. So I can go up 2 and right 1, up 2 and right 1. Or let's reverse it because I need my y-intercept. Okay, I need that b because it's not given to me. But I bet I can find it if I continue my pattern. So maybe instead of going up 2 and right 1, I could go down 2 and left 1. Down 2 and left 1. I'm getting closer to my y-axis. Down 2, left 1. There we go. I've got my y-intercept now. So now, grabbing my straight edge, okay, and drawing in my line, arrows, my line, but I don't have my equation because I'm writing it. What did we just find? We just found, okay, our b. What is that y-intercept? Down here, that's a -5. Now I've got my two pieces of information that I need. Y equals something x something. So my slope is 2 from the problem. We had to find the y-intercept because they told us they wanted it in slope intercept form, and my y-intercept is -5. Let's go on to the next page. Find the equation of a line that has a, here's our key piece of information, slope of 2 and passes through the point 3, 1 using, point slope form. Isn't this the same question? This is the same question as we just did, but they're telling us to use our new form. I was ahead of this note packet apparently in my thinking. So point slope form, let's write it down because it's on the previous page. Write it down all the time because that's how you'll start to remember it the more you write it. So what are the pieces of information we need? We need the slope and we need our point. So we have our slope, that's our m, and here's our point, x1, y1. So now we've got 3 blanks we need to fill in. So y minus blank equals blank, parentheses, x blank. So my y1 has to go in my first blank, so look over at your problem. What's your y1? It's 1. And then the next blank, that's our slope. What is our slope? What's our m? Our m is 2. And that x minus this third piece of information that I highlighted, my x1, and my x1 is, and my formula has a minus, I forgot that in there, 3. So we just wrote the same equation. It looks really different though, doesn't it? It looks a lot different than the one back here. So my answer right now looks like this, but the same problem that we did back on the first page looks like this, but they're the same. Well, let's see. I see y equals 2x minus 5 there. What could I do to this equation to make it look exactly the same? What do you want to do with this 2 that's outside the parentheses? Ooh, hopefully you said distribute. So y minus 1 equals, let's distribute 2x minus 6. And now if I got to solve for y, I get y by itself. If I add 1 to both sides, I get y equals 2x minus 5. Oh, winner, winner, chicken dinner. That should look like the same thing that we have on the previous page. 2x minus 5, 2x minus 5. See how they're the same? They look different, but if we do a little something to them, a little algebra to them, they look the same. Okay? Next one. Find the equation of a line that has, highlight our information, slope of negative 2/3, and passes through the point 6, negative 5, using any form you would like. So let's practice our new form. Let's practice our new form. Well, what are we given? We're given a slope and a point. So it would make sense to use the point slope form. So again, write it. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So I need to fill in my blanks. Y minus something equals our slope, x minus x1. So we have up here, we have our slope. Here's our x1 and there's our y1. So now let's fill in the blanks. So y minus y1. My y1, according to my problem, is a minus 5. Okay. My slope, according to my problem, is negative 2/3. And then my x1, according to my problem, is 6. So I'm going to clean this one up just a little bit. What is minus a minus? It's y plus 5 equals negative 2/3 x minus 6. Okay. All right, we're going to do 7 and 8 in class next. Okay, nice job, guys.